Hello, I'm Stone Oak Valley, and in this video I will go deep down into a movie which was an advertising movie of the longer type. This VHS I bought together with my first Amiga 500 in 1989, and I have the proof that I bought it in 1989. And this video was one of the things I used to, learn about Amiga 500. I never heard anything about Amiga 500. I didn't have any friends that had Amiga 500 before I bought the Amiga 500. Because in 1987 or 88, I got my first Commodore 64, and I still have the box for it. So that's really nice to keep around. And the only way I could learn about Amiga 500, as I said, I had no friends which had Amiga 500, so I could never see it. And the only place you could find and read about Amiga 500 were in typical magazines. And this is Amiga Computing from April 1989. So this is a couple of months before I buy my Amiga 500. And then I also have this one from May, so that was Commodore magazine, Commodore Computing International, so I can just read about. And this is the One magazine, and this is from, this is actually in September 1989, and also Amiga format, Amiga World, I mean. And this is from December 1989. And I will also go into details of how I got my first Amiga 500. And when I got the Amiga 500, you only get the manuals. I still have this manual. I'm missing the two other manuals. So that will be, this is Amiga Basic. And I'm missing the workbench, I think, and also the enhancer software. And of course you get a mouse and the good old tank mouse. But when I bought Amiga 500, I didn't actually buy it myself. I got it for my confirmation. That is something we have in the church. To kind of boost you into the adult world, or the young adult world, or the teen world or whatever. And then I can also go in the shops and I can find like advertising, things like this, like 2 pages. So this will be a disk drive, and this is a hard drive. So this is kind of the material I could use to learn about the Amiga 500 before I bought it. We could try it in the shops, and I will get into the details about everything around that. And I had a bundle price, I guess, because I think you can choose in the shop, in the local shop here in Norway, where you can get Amiga 500, and then you can get a choice of a game that follows, like a bundle price, but also software. And I was mostly interested in software, because maybe the game that were bundled together were a football game or a car racing game, or some other nonsense that I didn't care about. But I chose the productivity side. So I got Amiga, together with Amiga 500s, this Sonics from Ages, and this is my actual copy. And you can also see the price tag of where I actually bought everything. And I still have the discs for it, and also the manual. But that was everything I had for the first week. But I think the guy in the shop said, "Oh, you should buy this video as well, because if you don't have used Amiga 500 before, you can use this as like a reference, or to understand some more." I will get into the details of of everything with some screenshots and some footage and additional details. And then you will also get, you know, a couple of floppy disks. So this would be like the Commodore workbench, of course, and the extras and the Amiga Basic. But I didn't have anything else. But I did have this video, which is the focus of this entire video, because I need some help to identify some footage from it. I've been working on a project since 2020, where I tried to index everything that I showed in that movie, because the screenshots were flying really fast. Every clip were probably 2 or 3 seconds, where they show the software or the game. Sometimes they have captions on the software they are showing. They were loading images, they were loading animations, and I want to find the source of all of this. So I've spent 4 years in between, of course, everything else, to try and find the actual disk and what file they loaded and what the image name was and all of that stuff. The games are easy because these are things you saw all the time, but a lot of the software were expensive software, and of course when you're 15 years old you can't just buy anything, and you know, you ended up never getting the software or the games, or you were lucky to get a pirate copy. But it also, when you start to think about it, the Sonics was the only package that I had originally. And then I started thinking, what, did I really buy games and software for the Amiga at any point in time? Was it all just pirate? Well, I can't remember what games I really bought, but I remember this one. I bought this in Denmark on a vacation, and it's a game called Corruption. I don't have the floppy disk. I have only this little card that follow. Otherwise, the box is empty. But the most interesting part is, of course, for me, because I'm dealing with a lot of research and archiving, and I always want to find traces and rebuild my history of Amiga and Commodore computers. And yeah, I bought this game in May in 1990, and that was from this computer shop. I will put a screenshot of this later so you can see it in detail. So that is like at least one item I have. I'm wandering off now a little bit because I want to talk a little bit about the early days of Amiga 500. But I did get the Sonics software, because I'm talking about the first week, kind of. That game was bought, of course, a year later. But I got the Sonics, I got the Amiga Basic, and shortly after, maybe a couple of months, I bought this fantastic book, Advanced Amiga Basic. And this is where I started learning programming on the Amiga 500. So this is like one item you bought, and this cost, you know, like 400 NOK, so that will be like 40 euro or something. But as the time goes along, I probably bought something else, but I lost everything. I sold everything in 98. This is the only game, the Corruption was the only game I had left, and I had some the Sonics, and I had Amiga Basic book. But I also found that I bought Amos. I didn't buy the Amos Basic 1.3, that was a pirate version, but it inspired me, and I thought this is really worth the money, so I really purchased this. This is my original one. So I used this on Amiga 500, and then of course it supported AGA, so I also used this on Amiga 1200. I made everything in there. And shortly thereafter, of course, I bought the compiler to Amos. so I can compile everything, and I think these are complete. Yeah, and it may be a bundle or something, I can't remember, but I also have the original disc for Amos 3D. And I think that was pretty much what I owned of original stuff. But of course, I wandered off here a little bit. I just want to give a little bit of background to everything. But now we will focus on this VHS in the following presentation that I will do in my. Actually, this entire movie was edited in my own application that I made in Unity on Windows. It's running on a headset, so that will be Oculus Quest 2, where I record everything and play it back later, so it's more like a presentation, because I don't want to spend a lot of time editing. I have a lot of pictures and movies and sounds and stuff I want to talk about, and I just want to do it very quickly, but in a kind of understandable flow. So it feels like more like a PowerPoint presentation or something like this. But we will end here, and I will talk very in detail, of course mix it with the facts and also my own history. So I will see you in the next segment. Yeah, so the story starts in 1989. And I said in the previous segment that it was for my confirmation. It may also be some kind of combination gift of my 16-year birthday. And also something to do with the confirmation. So that is a tradition we do here in Norway. But that's not important. So my sister and her husband, they gave me a choice. I could either go to Disneyland in United States, or I could get an Amiga 500 computer. And yeah, when you're 15 or 16 years old, going to Disneyland was kind of a dream. But then I started thinking like, okay, the trip maybe last 2 weeks and that's it. It will be over. And all you had left is whatever you picked up from Disneyland, and this poster I found on internet from 1989, so I will probably get back home with this. But yeah, I thought about it, and I choose the Amiga 500, of course. Who wouldn't do anything else? And then my sister checked the advertisements, I guess, in the newspaper, and then she found the actual. So this is most likely where she found the price or the actual, advertising. So it says, offer 5,390 Norwegian kroner, and it's also the name of the shop, which is in our local town called Centro Data. And since I already know when I got my Amiga 500, you can see the date here was Thursday, 8th of June, because I'm pretty sure they called me and said, yeah, we found an offer in your local shop. We will go and buy it on Saturday. And of course, I was super happy about that. And then we bought it, and then I filled out this certificate, which clearly says 10th of June 1989. And it also says the name of the shop. And it also said what I previously had or owned as a Commodore 64, of course. And then I want to use the Amiga for video animation, entertainment and hobbies, music, and games. And I also mentioned that I want to buy a disk drive, A1000 or A1010 or something. Yeah. And of course, my age was 15 or 16 years old. So when we went to the shop, I will also show a clip that I found online, which is a couple of years later, but it's actually the actual shop where I bought this. So it's nice to find some pictures for that, because that old shop is of course long gone. So this was a footage from our local TV station in 1995, but it actually features the owner of the shop, and this is the actual shop. You can see it in between here. I've taken out the sound, and this guy, he's the one who sold me the Amiga 500. So they are doing some PlayStation commercial here, because PlayStation 1 arrived in our town in 1995 for the first time. And this is the only clip or image I could find from the shop. Unfortunately, I don't see any Amiga things here, because by that time, 1994, Commodore was bankrupt, and other things took over. So yeah, this guy, the owner here, of course, he told me probably when we are leaving the shop that, oh, you should buy this computer video. This one, because that can help you understand the machine. Because he probably understood that I came from a Commodore 64. And of course, when you turn on the Commodore 64, you can instantly start typing. But when you turn on the Amiga 500, there's nothing. There's only the famous boot screen. So, anyway, he probably told me to buy this movie, and so we did. And I also found an advertisement. You can also actually buy this separately. And it cost about 50 NOK, so maybe €5 or something. And it says there that before you're going to purchase an Amiga 500, you can look through everything this computer can offer. So that was kind of the selling point, right? So I got the video, and it was also featured in catalogs, so you can find it. You can find it in this Datatronic, which is a Norwegian supplier of stuff back then. And of course, the computer video is circled. So when I got home, of course, I didn't have much. I only got the Amiga, of course, in a box, and then, like I said in the previous clip, I get the productivity software, so that will be Aegis Sonics, and that software, look like, let me rearrange a little. So that looks like this one, and of course this is the floppy disks that followed. So there will be a data disk and also a main disk. So this was the software I had. And I also had a disk. Actually there was, of course, the Amiga Workbench, and then there was there was a disk called The Very First. And this is just a speed up of that disk, how it looked. So, of course, when you get your first computer and you never used it before, I didn't have much software, I didn't have much games. So this one, I just go quickly through this disk just to show all the graphics that were there. But this disk was really good because if you have never used an Amiga 500 before, I'm pretty sure I didn't know even to put where to put the floppy drive in, the first seconds, because I never seen this live, and I've never seen it from the boot up. back then, of course. So imagine if this was a Saturday and the only thing I had was some Aegis Sonics. I had this presentation disc just to teach me the mouse. And then I had Workbench, and then I had Amiga Basic, and then I had this enhancer disc. But, that's not a lot of stuff you can do. Because I was used to look through magazine and, dream about all the games and software. But of course, I think the first week was pretty boring because I didn't really have anything. And I might have bought a magazine. I don't know when I bought it, maybe the same day. But anyway, if this was a Saturday, Sunday will be, the shop will be closed. And I also think the rest of the week until Thursday or Friday, it was the last days of school before the summer vacation. And then probably the Saturday after I went to town and I bought probably a cover disc. And we're going to take a look at that cover disc, which came with a magazine. And this was probably the first magazine I bought. And I couldn't understand ST because I knew nobody had an Atari ST at the time. Of course, now I know what ST means, but this disc was like a dual floppy, so they actually managed to put two different operating systems on it, like file systems. So the half of the disc was for Atari ST, and the other half for Amiga. And you can see this is May 1989, so this magazine was probably in the shop in June also. So I probably bought one of the last magazine they had there, because I was desperate to getting some games or anything else than Sonic's Amiga Basic. And this will be a week after. And of course the Amiga had Blood Money, and there was some other tools there. Let me see, so that's Disk X, Set Key 4, that's a game, and File Requester. And, well, before we take a look what's on that disk, because I'm trying to recreate, the first week. But the main focus of this video is, of course, the Amiga movie, or the Norwegian version of it, at least. But before we go, I will just remind you that I created a recording project many years ago, where I actually have a lot of recorded Sonics tunes, so you can find that on my website. But let's go through some of the songs, because some of the songs on the Sonics software is, I think you heard them before, but so this was like the first software I had, and the only music I could get out of it was from Sonics. Yeah, so that was Sonics, and here are my YouTube channel and also all the music I have recorded. So there are, I think there are like, what was it, like several thousand songs. So if you are really interested in Ages Sonics Amiga music, then you can check that out. And I do have a link to my YouTube channel, so you can check that out right there. Yeah. And I also have a QR code for my Amiga Sonics collection. So that will be a couple of songs and a little bit more background info about the Sonics. But before we continue, I just want to also talk about that cover disc, and we're also gonna take a look at Blood Money, which is the first game I ever played in my entire life on Amiga 500. So I just booted up an emulator for this purpose because I just wanted to do it very quickly. So this is a real-time booting, real-time recording of the booting, I mean. So of course it will take some time. I do have audio on it. So this was the first game I ever tried, and it was from a cover disc. And this probably was a week after I bought the Amiga 500. And I would play this probably thousands of times. But I also want to show some of the other tools that were on the disc. This is also just an emulator capture. But on the cover disc, there was also a couple of software and games. And this will be the very first software that I will test out, apart from Amiga Basic, Workbench, Sonics, and Blood Money. There are a couple of things here, some source code for this, for whoever was programming. Yeah, and this is also something I probably read through. I couldn't understand any of it because I hadn't started programming anything more advanced than Commodore 64 Basic at that time in 1989. And then there's also a disk editor. Of course, I had no idea what this software was supposed to do. I never had floppy disks before. I only had tape players on the Commodore 64. So this was like, what the hell is this software? I probably was thinking. Yeah, it shows a bunch of info, like, I wouldn't know what to do with that the first week. Of course, not many months after I used Disk X quite a lot. And also this set key is like, what I'm gonna do with this software, right? So I can imagine it was a pretty boring week when I first got my Amiga 500. And of course I saw all these games in magazines and all the software. But I'm so lucky that I actually bought that Amiga movie, because that could just let me dream about all the things I could get. And if you're wondering what the movie is, I will show you right here. So this is just some clips from the entire movie. This is from the beginning to the end. So the end is here and the beginning goes like this, right? So now you know what movie I'm talking about and which movie we're gonna deconstruct or unpuzzle. And this Norwegian version is actually a cutout from the original one, which is from USA. So in Norway, they would narrate in Norwegian, so we will have Norwegian voices, but everything else would be in English. So all the subtitles, or actually the captions, and everything else would be in English. But we will have a Norwegian version with the narrator talking over. And Commodore probably did this for every country. And I will also show you the English version. So this will be with sound, I believe.
And there are things that you're about to see that only the Amiga 500 can do. Nothing comparably priced even comes close.
So this is where we cut from the Norwegian version. We kind of
Amiga,
cut from this place.
Is about to begin.
You are about to step into a brave new world
Norway
of
just
power,
cut into
performance,
this.
and productivity made possible by the new Commodore Amiga 500 home computer. Sit back and get set for the ride of your life.
Yeah, so that was the English version, and this is the Norwegian version with our introduction.
Du skal nå bli kjent med Commodore Amiga 500 computer. Sett deg godt til rette, og gjør deg klar til en reise utenom det vanlige. Inn i en verden full av spenning, glede og styrke.
Jeg Commodore Amiga 500. Jeg alt det du ønsker deg av en computer. Enkel å bruke, med større styrke og flere fordeler enn de maskiner du har brukt hittil.
Yeah, and I think also the cover may be looking like this for United States. I'm not sure if this was the actual cover. It is something I found somewhere. But then we will go through this Amiga 500 video and we will dissect it. But before I go, this video I need some help identifying some of the software and games, and actually in December I put a movie on my YouTube, actually a playlist on my YouTube channel, and I made this little Christmas calendar that lasts actually for 31 days, and I was just simply asking, you know, have you seen this, boy? No, not that. I mean, have you seen this screenshots? Have you seen this footage? So I will just show you all of these. So they were like YouTube shorts, which probably is useless. But I'm asking, you know, a snippet from a movie of where it was. And there wasn't a lot of views. Of course, I was a noob in YouTube, and I still am a noob in YouTube. So I was hoping that at least somebody will recognize any of these missing screenshots, or actually missing titles, or missing a reference of the source material, which this video is supposed to be about. And in the next segment, we will actually start to go through the actual missing segments. I will start from the beginning with a little footage clip and then also an image. But I also wanted to give you a little bonus before we switch over, and that was, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I bought my Amiga 500, because I constantly went back to the shop, and suddenly I started getting new friends at the shop because they were there hanging out, and we started copying discs. And that's how I eventually managed to get hold of Soundtracker and Defender of the Crown. I remember the Three Stooges, and I also remember Deluxe Paint 2, so I get copies of this, the pirate version, obviously, since I was standing in a computer shop with other gangsters that were just copying games, you know, in the shop, while probably the shopkeeper were not looking at us. But I remember I made a song, actually, in summer. So that would probably be July 1989, and I called the track for Welcome to Amiga, so we will listen to that. This is my first music I ever made on my Amiga 500, probably 1 or 2 months after I got it, during my summer vacation. And I started getting hold of sample discs, so there will be ST00 and 01 and maybe some other random samples. And we will listen to it.
Welcome!
Yeah, you can clearly hear that all the notes are pretty much from any other track out there. I don't know if I even made my own notes in this one. But anyway, we will stop that and we will prepare for the next segment of the Amiga movie 1987, Unpuzzled.
On the Amiga!
Outrageous.
Yeah, I want to talk about this cassette and tape cover that I was showing physically in the introduction, and that is actually a recreation. Because my original movie I had probably given away in 1998 to my cousin. I didn't have a backup of it, and I also remember the movie was very short. Actually, the tape roll on the cassette was very short, so I think it was like a standardized industry size. We used to have like 60 minutes and 90 minutes, and even larger than this, 180 minutes. And this cassette was probably like 30 minutes or 20 minutes worth of tape roll inside. Because the Amiga movie we had in Norway lasted for, I would say, maybe 15 minutes. And I remember I was doing some deluxe paint animations, and then I just needed a cassette, and I didn't have any one in the house, and I just used this original computer video, the Amiga 500 movie, and I went to the end of it, so I didn't record over anything, but I recorded some deluxe paint animations I made with Star Wars and things like this, and I really hope I can find the cassette, but I think it was given away, probably lost in time. I think at one point I actually took out the paper, the cover, because that is just a A4 European standard size paper, and this VHS cover is like bubble type. But anyway, since I also collect VHSs, I could get my hands on this bubble cover, and I started looking online many years ago if somebody were actually selling this cassette, and there were some people trying to sell it. At the beginning I saw an advertisement of 250 NOK, and I was willing to pay that. But the original seller didn't respond, and then I don't know if he reposted it some time after, but in 2020 they asked about 600 NOK. That would be like 60 euro for this, and I thought that was too much, so I started thinking, since I could find the Norwegian version, actually I found it a couple of years ago on YouTube. I had already downloaded that in the highest quality possible, and the seller, he took pictures of this cassette, so the one you're looking at now, and he also took a picture of this label, and I remember this label. So this is the authentic, real one he is selling. But I was thinking, like, okay, what if I what if I just recreate this stuff? Because this is a standard font, and you know, all the images are really here to reconstruct it. I can easily get this back, you know, with some distortion and perspective and stuff like this. So I did that. I actually recreated the entire cover. It's a A4 format, so I used Adobe InDesign to actually redesign it in high quality. So these are the pictures from the auction that I just, you know, redid everything. And I also have the label for the cassette. It is not shown here, but you know, that is one way I could recreate this. I also have this cover on my website, so you can download it in a PDF if you're really interested in recreating it. And I'm also working on a project to restore the YouTube version with a little bit of sharpen on the entire movie, and also improve the audio quality. And I had a project on my website, in addition to whatever else I had about this computer video. And I have a project there where I intend to create also Norwegian subtitles using my own software, which is specifically made to create subtitles in the looks of at least European PAL videotapes and our Norwegian TV channels and stuff like this, but it's outside the scope of this video. I just want to mention that I did some, you know, remaking of this cover because I really wanted to have this cassette in my shelf. This movie, I watched it probably 20 times in the weekend when I first got my Amiga, and I watched that movie hundreds of times. I would always go through the movie, and then I will pause it and, you know, just study the screenshots of every software that they had in that movie. So that was just a little background around and some more details about this one. So I think now that we are pretty much done, I will also show you what I have done in trying to find all the references that are in the movie of software and titles and everything. So in this video, I will just show you. This is a screen grab from my website where you can find this project, and I split it into 5 parts. So this was be like the introduction before everything else. And here you can see the cover I was talking about. Also my subtitle software was there, and I will put a QR code to that project right here. So here I go through, and you can see that the left side is the screenshot from the movie. On the right side is the one that I actually found, because they will load up animations and images, usually, you know, with graphics or some tutorials or some sample files. And this is what I have been researching. I want to find all the files that I open in the movie, because if they open up Videoscape, they would not just show Videoscape the front GUI, they would usually load an animation, and you know, like Lotus animation and some town and some city animation. And that is what I try to do in this project, is to find, you know, both the one from the actual movie, but also find the game. Of course, all the games are very easy to find, except one, which was never released. But all the software, you could say like Deluxe Paint, and I would show a lot of photos. And all the clips were very fast, so you only get 2-3 seconds looking at each screenshot. And you can imagine all the work I have done for the past 4 years, since 2020, trying either to remember that, or I remember and a specific photo on Deluxe Paint data disk or something, And I use a lot of techniques to try and determine where it could be. And also I want to find the original source. And as far as I can tell, actually we do know that the movie was produced in 1987. And all the software that was featured in that movie was either from 1985 or 1986 or 7. So you can limit the search if you have dates on everything. You know, all the archive from TOSEC usually have dates on all the ADFs and all the Amiga files, like LR archives and ESO files and stuff like this. But it could also be software or games that are coming, not in 1987, but maybe it came in 1988 or 1989. So you only have about 4 years gap or window to search from, which is helps a lot. And that is how I managed to do about 92% of the work already, but I'm still struggling with the clip I'm going to show you. So in the next segment, we will go through pretty much from the beginning, and I will show you each clip, and then I will just ask you, have you seen? Have you seen? Have you seen this, boy? No, not that one. I mean, have you seen this animation? And the animation I'm looking for is this one. Is that something that was ever on the on any Amiga disk? I mean, this is a color cycling image. So the still image you can see here, the time is about 42 seconds into the movie from the start. Of course, it's all relative depending on which version you're looking at, but and also the motion clipper is directly from the VHS. I'm just showing you what is before and what is after. So this screenshot here is the one that I'm looking for. So I don't know if this animation ever existed. I've never seen it. It might be just a clip that was made by the people who edited the movie, because there are most likely some things that was never part of a software package. So this is item 1. Have you seen this stuff? I can zoom in. So there's like a guy standing and waving his arms or something, but there's clearly color cycling going on. So I have not found this clip. So let's go to the next one. So this is like a Superman animation, you know, Clark Kent. So this is again about a minute into the movie. And this is just a screenshot of the animation that I'm looking for. I have never seen this. It is clearly made on Amiga. It has truly, you know, it's 2 frames. And I have not found this Superman animation either. You can see it changes from 512 KB to 1 meg. So yeah, have you seen this? Do you know where it comes from? Is it a file you could open? Is it an animation by somebody? I don't know. That's why we are doing this go through. Okay, we will go to the next clip. So the animation here is kind of a little bit tricky, but we don't care about the software, I already know, and not the juggler. But you see the landscape in the back, that is from a Videoscape. But this flying thing is, of course, some studio effects that I did that is not from the Amiga. So this thing flying around there, that is just a, you know, effect device they used to edit the movie. But this animation here you can see that the mouth is opening up. And I have found this picture, or parts of it, but I've not found the actual animation where this, this mouth are smiling like this. So, if you ever seen this animation, then please let us know. I want to know where the source file of this is. So, we will go to the next one, and this one is a really cool animation, but what could it be? What software package? This constant looping. I think there's a name for this effect. I forgot what it was, but I've tried a lot of Googling. I asked ChatGPT, what is this effect that you're constantly zooming? And they said a word, I forgot what it was. But it's clearly, again, an Amiga animation of, I don't know, maybe 12 or 16 frames. There is no logo, there's no nothing. And we can zoom up a little, so it is clearly 32 colors, I would say. So, yeah, I have not found anything that resembles this animation, not even a still frame. So if you know what animation that is, then please let us know. We will continue on to this wireframe animation. So there's also, a lot of other stuff in here, but this is the animation I'm looking for, this wireframe build-up. I have already this cat, I already have this. This deluxe paint thing is some kind of clip art stuff for making humans, so, stitching together. But this animation, where it goes into wireframe and builds it up, I'm pretty sure it's Videoscape, but I haven't checked all of the Videoscape files. I just know that Videoscape 3D from ages have some animations of a mountain, and you can also see some Videoscape car driving there. So it could be related to Videoscape. I'm not sure, but if you have seen the file, let us know. And then we will look for an image. There are many images in that clip, but I'm looking for this, this, clearly made by a kid. And it says, I think it says, yeah, I blocked the name here, but I guess it's Amy. Yeah, Amy, age 5. So I've not seen this image on any disc. I've seen this one, I've seen this one, I have this, I have this, I have this, I have this, and I don't have this note, this musical note. Actually, I have found it, but not on Amiga source. So again, have you seen this still photo? I have not found it. So let's go to the next clip. So the image I'm looking for here is the animation, no, the mountain. So this is like a generic mountain. I think it may be from Deluxe Video or, yeah, Deluxe Paint maybe. This, this woman, I already found the source. I also found the source of this balloon. So I found at least 2 of the shots here. I found this balloon and then this woman. So I have the sources for that, but I've not found this mountain range yet. So that is something I'm looking out for. And I'm also looking for clearly a digitized photo. So that will be this mountain image. Again, you can see it's pretty much close to the other clip, but so this woman we have, I don't have this image. I do think I found this, and I also found this of the girl. but I don't know what kind of mountain is that. So when I try to search for things, you know, I might ask Google or ChatGPT, or even if I know the mountain, I would start searching for that. Also, the file names on Amiga could sometimes be like MT, stands for Mount. So what if there's a Mount Kilimanjaro or something? But so far, Google or ChatGPT have not been able to identify what mountain range this is. There's clearly some trees here and the sun. So it looks like it's very high up, because this is probably skies. So you know, clouds, I mean. But then again, there are trees here, so I don't know. If you know the mountain, that could help a little bit. If you've seen the image on an Amiga production from the 80s, then cool. let us know. And I have also this animation. So there are a bunch of animations there, but I'm looking for the animation with these 3 balls. This look like, truly it looks like Sculpt 3D, because this grid is something that was pretty common in Sculpt 3D, or maybe Sculpt 4D Animate, or any of those packages. Also, the reflection is like a typical thing that I would do myself. So if you go over to the video, of course, you can see it's animating. I have this software found, also this chair I have found, but I not found this one. So I've identified also the computer that is nailed out of a rock there. But I'm specifically looking for this animation with the rotating balls. I have not found it. And then I'm looking for the ballerina animation. So if I remember correctly, when Commodore introduced the Amiga on stage in 1985 or something, they also have this guy, this Andy Warhol, I think, and there was some clip where they featured first this wireframe dancer, and then it went over to this animation, and suddenly there was a real girl or a woman on stage doing the same ballet as this animation was doing. So this must have been maybe from Commodore. And I probably used, what software could that be? Videoscape maybe, Deluxe Paint, maybe Deluxe Video. But I have not found this animation. So there are clearly 2 animation files I'm looking for. I'm looking for the wireframe, and I'm also looking for this thing here. But I found an animation that looks almost similar. I have specified that on my website. So that was the ballerina animation. And then I am looking for, yeah, again, you can see it's very close to the other one. I'm looking for the animation of this, this flight. So there are some simple mountains being scrolled down. And then this plane is, of course, animated, or at least doing some kind of animation. Just, yeah, it's actually also, it looks like it's actually, I think it's just one frame on the plane, but then there's like this effect of scrolling. So I don't know what software created it. Probably it was Aegis Animator, or it could be Videoscape. I don't think so, because this is more like 2D pixel bitmap animation. So this is probably, I would guess, maybe Aegis Animator or Deluxe Video. I have not found either one, not the mountain, not the background, and not the plane. So yeah, we are missing that one too. And then I'm looking for this eye animation. This is like, I mean, they put an effect here where they are like like fading in, but I think there's only like a two frame animation. So one is closed and the other one is open, and I'm looking for this original. So there will be at least 2 frames. I have no idea what software that could be. It could be Deluxe Paint or Deluxe Video or God knows who. But yeah, if you've seen this, I want to know. And there are also more in the very same segment. I have not found. I'm looking for specifically this animation with this waveform and this, mouth opening. I have not found any graphics or sprites or bobs or anything similar to these. There are clearly a couple of frames of animation. It could have been Deluxe Video, or I don't know if Deluxe Paint had animation back then, but I think Deluxe Paint came with animation in Deluxe Paint 3, so this would be, 1985 or so Deluxe Paint 1 or 2. So yeah, I'm looking for this animation with these 4 mouths and this waveform going up and down. And then I'm looking for the animation that, I can see the ballerina. So I already found these this graphics, the amazing video I have found. I didn't find the animation of it, but I found the actual artwork. And also this Feel the Urge is actually a combination of several images. I found the pieces of it. The ballerina, of course, it's unknown. But I'm looking for this donut that is kind of zooming in, but that is very typical Videoscape. So either they made some custom animation and never saved it to the disk. I couldn't find it on the Videoscape I was looking through, at least. So I'm looking for this animation. And then I'm looking for this weird image. So this is basically just, I will show you. So this is from the actual movie, right? So it goes through some clips here and talks about digitizing, and suddenly it just stuck in there. But if we zoom in, we can clearly see that it says Bronze Award 1987. I've not been able to figure out the rest here. I don't know what software creates this, because there's a shading. And I don't know what kind of template or whatever would create that. So if you ever seen that template or image in any package, software package, then please let us know. And then I'm looking for this particular image. This is again, from the movie. They just put in lots of images passing by. And I have found this image, this image, not this one. This one I think I've found. I didn't find this planet. So both the robot and the horse wagon I have found the original of, but I can't find this girl, this photo. So we can just zoom up because there's no animation anyway. So there's nothing here that I ever seen before. She's either photoshopped in, or it's just a paint job that they did, or maybe it's just a random scan they did from a magazine or something, and they would just scan it for the actual Commodore movie, which means nobody ever saved this file anywhere. So this might be a difficult image to find. Maybe it doesn't even exist anymore, like digitally. Yeah, and actually, I do miss this guy. Of course, this is, I guess it's Van Gogh. I have found variations of this image, but not this particular one, I don't care about the effects, but I haven't found this exact image. I found some other variation of it, and you can see here in the movie where it was. So that he's like experimenting with digitizing and DigiView. Yeah, so it may be connected to some DigiView material. I have looked through a lot of it, and I found a lot, but I didn't find this image. Yeah, and what are we looking for here? Yes, so I'm actually looking for this software. I think this is probably DigiView. I never used DigiView back in the day, so, but you know, this is clearly Saturn, but was this something they just digitized when they are making the movie? Maybe this image was never saved, just you know, random capture when they are making the movie? Or did they actually load it from disk somewhere? So I haven't found this image either. It's a very tiny fraction. You can see it in the movie, but you know, I'm looking for everything. Then we have another animation of this mouths again. So yeah, there's clearly an animation going on here. I don't know how much of it is actually done in post, meaning when they edit the movie, maybe this, you know, circling is actually an effect they put on afterwards. I don't think that is from the actual Amiga, but I would say that this animation is probably from Amiga. I have not found any of these mouths or assets. I don't know what software it was from. Of course, they're just showing a bunch of random stuff, so it's impossible to know. This software is known, and this robot, I also found the animation frames for this robot, but I did not find this mouth animation. And there are more of these animations, like this one. So yeah, we have Sonic's. And yeah, I'm looking for this, what is this instrument called? I forgot. Anyway, it's this one. Xylophone, I guess. So there is clearly an animation going on. I have not found any still frame of this. You can see there are some shadings in the image, but it's clearly Amiga graphics and clearly an Amiga animation. So I have no idea where this came from. I have literally no idea where to search for this image or even animation. And there's also this clip that is, you know, in the same area. This choir singing. This is a couple of frames of animation. Let me see. So maybe 2-3 frames or something. This is probably stitched together by some Deluxe Paint and Deluxe Video or whatever animation thing. I have not found any assets that looks like this, and I don't know even where to look for this. I've checked like dozens of Deluxe Video and Deluxe Paint disc, and I can't find this one, so I need help with that one too. And then we have another animation that I am unable to find, and that is this animation. These balls that are rotating again. I found this head already on this software, but I'm looking for this animation. So you can see there are reflections in the animation and there are shadows. So this is most likely rendered in, well, there wasn't much to render in 1985, so that would be Sculpt 3D or something. Who knows? It could be also just you know, a homemade render machine, and they just play the frames in memory. I have no idea. So this is also a very difficult image to kind of find, because is it supposed to represent something? Is it planets or is it molecules or I don't know. So I'm looking for this animation. And then I'm also looking for this King Kong inspired image. This is just, put into the video. You can see where it is in the video. So they will talk about software and page setup, professional page, and then suddenly there was a woman with an earring, and I already found that woman with an earring, but I didn't find this one. So I did some research, and it looks like there's an artist named up here called Astraham. And I did update my website probably last year, where I found an image from actually an artist doing Deluxe Paint stuff in the United States, like in the 80s. And that person was called Astraham. I think the first name was Irene or something. But she made a very similar photo without the King Kong. All these buildings were extremely similar. Of course, if this is a skyline, that is, I guess, that is obviously the two towers and whatever that thing is. But the design of everything was extremely similar, so I made a post on my website. I tried to contact the artist and her husband, but the mail just bounced back because the website is probably last updated in, 20 years ago. But yeah, I have some traces on this, but I could not find this original image in any Amiga files at all. So I'm very close, but, close but no cigar. And then I'm looking for this, I think this is a Mazda image. I have found an image, Deluxe Paint, that looks extremely similar to this. Of course, it's difficult to judge the orientation, kind of, because the screen is, first it's round and also the angle is a little bit weird. But as you can see, they do pan around. And she's just moving like a tire up there. But I think the actual image is, I think maybe it could be Mazda RX-7, the name of the image, and they just cut out the tire, and then she was like moving it or whatever. So yeah, I have identified everything before and after her. It's just this car I'm looking for. So I'm not specifically looking for the animation, but at least I want to find the original image. Even I have some clues. It's not really, it doesn't look like the one. And we will move on to the next one. So there's also a lot of stuff going on here, but I'm looking for this animation of these planets or whatever it's supposed to be. And yeah, I don't see any reflection in this animation. And there also seems to be, there seems to be some shadows going on. I have to zoom up myself. Yeah, there are some shadows. So I'm looking for the animation with this, planets or whatever. I have identified everything else here. The map, the heart, and the software. Yeah. I identified all of those, but I didn't identify this one. I haven't found the source of this. And then I have also, this is just an image of these cells or whatever. Yeah, it says figure 1 down here. The funny thing is that Google actually managed to identify the exact same image. I forgot the name. It's something medical, like mycoplasma, something. But I found the actual image that they probably digitized. So this is actually a digitized image, but I have not found this image used in any production. Of course, there is so much stuff going on, you know, every clip goes into the other, and you don't really know what software belongs to whatever graphics you're looking at. So even though you're looking at, you know, Life or Death or this educational software or this scrolling text, this image could be far away from this. So it's very difficult to understand always if the software or the image belongs to that software. But anyway, this image is identified by Google, but I could not find the Amiga source. I did find the original one that they probably scanned back in the 80s. And then I'm looking for, there are again so many images flying by. This one was really hard because I need to identify every flying shot. And I have actually managed to identify all of these except this planet thing. So I identify all the blue screens. I have identified this green guy and also identified this boat image. I have not found the boat image. I think maybe I forgot to put it in the video here, but it's there are some traces for this image. I have written it on my website, but anyway, I'm looking for this software. It may be that they are connected to one of the other software that are showing here, but unfortunately there are so many loose ends I have to attend to, so I might have already seen this, but I forgot to take note of it. But anyway, if you know where it is, let us know. And then we go to this mysterious little thing, and it's, you know, again, very close to the other one, but it's about this nuclear plant thing. So this is clearly a color cycling image only. I don't know what software would have used this. So we can zoom up here. So I even tried to search for containment vessel and nuclear power plant and pump and heat exchange and condenser and all these words, but this is not something that is generated by text into an image, by sprites and bobs. I think this is just a single image and they color cycle it. So it's some kind of image that is red. It's probably has something to do with educational software, because this is this clip is from the educational section of the movie. So if you recognize this screenshot, let me know. Yeah, and then we're gonna there is also some kind of biological animation going on here. There's actually two of them, but they go really fast by. So I'm looking for this animation that looks like this. You can see it's a little bit difficult, but it's like it's building some, you know, some molecules or something, and there are a couple of words there that can be identified. But this one is it's going so fast, so it's difficult to understand if this is really the same software or are we looking at two different software. I have no idea what this software is. Seems to be extremely technical, so it must be one of those educational titles. That brings us to the other one, which is pretty much the same place. So that will be the animation that goes here. So this seems to be some kind of slideshow, probably some deluxe video or something. Aegis Animator. And as you can see, yeah, the molecule is a perfect T-head, yeah, whatever. You can read it for yourself. But yeah, the S2 mechanism, I would think that if I find this software or this animation, I will probably clear up some of the other missing items I have, because it seems to be, you know, a lot taken from the same place. And then again, we have another animation, which looks similar to the other molecule stuff we are talking about. So I'm looking for this particular animation, which is actually one of the ending animation before they switch over to the next segment. So yeah, there are clearly shadows. I believe it's not real time, of course. It's rendered. Maybe Sculpt 3D. Maybe Sculpt 4D. I don't know where this animation would even fit in. There's no text, so it's difficult to determine if this was part of a software package, a tutorial file you could load, or is this just made for the movie itself, which means it was never released to anybody, making it probably impossible to find. And yeah, that was actually all the images I was looking for. So you can see this video lasts, 15-14 minutes, and you probably remember all the short clips, so you can understand how much software and images and files I have already identified, because I missed probably around 35 segments. I think I have identified pretty much everything, like every corner of the video. And sometimes I would find the animation. Sometimes I will find the tutorial files loaded from the actual software. And I've written this down on my website. So you should really definitely check that out. I did put a QR code before, but this is just to my main website, so yeah. And that is what I want to talk about for this Amiga movie. It impacted me a lot when I was young. I watched it thousands of times, and yeah, this is me in 1990. So this was 1 year after. So I'm sitting in my room. I'm filming this with an old VHS camera, because at that point, just a year after I got my Amiga 500, you can already see down here, there's a digitizer, that's Video'n Amiga. And I also have footage from the same session where I have actually Genlock. So there's also a Genlock hidden behind there. So I was clearly very early on doing a TV production type of work where I played with animation. I even have a sampler here, Alcotino's sampler, I believe, should be here somewhere. So I could sample sounds, I could digitize, I could use Genlock. And of course I have 2 VHS machines, and I had 2 cameras and an Amiga 500. So I really have a really good multimedia machine. I could do a lot of stuff, and the Amiga 500 movie was, of course, inspirational, because it taught me a lot of software packages and ideas, because they would show Genlock and digitizing, and they will name these things like digitizing. I didn't understand what digitizing was before I saw that movie. So the movie actually learned me quite a lot, and also made me more interested in the Amiga 500. So imagine that actually just, advertisement can actually make you that interested, and then suddenly, 35 years later, you're working your ass off trying to find the sources of everything. So, yeah, it's one of these things, isn't it?
On the Amiga.
Outrageous.
Yep, so that was the movie about the movie. the Commodore movie. And I have to apologize for the introduction. I used a different camera, because I have a bunch of these cameras, and I unfortunately chose this one, which has a lower resolution. I bought this in a flea market. I think I paid €5 for it, because I use always whatever equipment I have. The camera I'm recording on now is 10 years old, but it still works, and I don't care about 4K or whatever. I'm an old school person, so I would like to use time period correct equipment, and that will be something I will continue to do. I will use VHS cameras for some of my productions in the future. They will not be Amiga, Commodore, computer related. But anyway, I just want to quickly mention on that, and yeah, this hypnotic video is, this thing is special because it's like one of the first memory when I first purchased my computer together with my sister and her husband. And it was truly magic going into a shop and just getting your first computer, because the Commodore 64 was bought second hand a couple of years before that, so in 87 or 88. So that's why this thing was really magical to me, and this movie was stuck on my mind for years. And I just wanted to dig really deep into it. But, thinking about going into shops and getting your beautiful Amiga box. I have 2 of these boxes. I don't think these are my original ones, but they are a couple of years after. One was found in a flea market in a box, and the other box was actually a Commodore Amiga 500 1.2 that I repaired for my previous boss actually in the 90s. So I still had that box, so maybe that was this box. But there's something magical back then when you go and find these computers, and then one day you can't find these boxes in the shops anymore, because that's how it is. And it's really amazing when you can now in modern times walk into my local shops here in a very small town I live outside the town, but when you go into these shops and you suddenly see the Commodore again, I mean, that is just you get this magical feeling. You just can't leave the shop when you see this. I mean, this is the C64 Mini. And at first I thought, it's just an emulator, right? And of course it is an emulator, but I mean, just the feeling of walking out of the shop with this brings me back to the days when I got this and when I got my Amiga 500. So I have to thank these people, Retro Games, for letting us experience that feeling of going into a shop in our local place and just bring back out a Commodore. Even though it's emulation, I know. But anyway, that was, I always buy the very last item, because then I know, oh shit, I have to buy it, because usually I don't want to buy them. I have lots of Amiga 500 real hardware and Commodore 64 real hardware, so I can always set up an emulator, but it's something with the box. And yeah, this continues, of course. I also had to buy this. That's the A500 Mini. I just can't leave the shop when I see there's only one left. If I see like 10 of them, I don't care. But if I see one left, I know I just have to get it, because this could be my very last time I can experience getting that box again, just like in the 90s or 80s. But of course, it doesn't stop there, right? No, you have to go also full-size Commodore. This is also from Retro Games. And it's just magical. I can't leave the shop without these things. And of course, Amiga and Commodore are very special to me. I don't know if I will ever walk out of the shop with a Nintendo, like a Retro Games version of from somebody else, like emulated, new school hardware. I also don't think I will walk out of the shop with an Atari, because I already have an Atari 2600 and 7800 from the 80s. So, but there's something special, because it all comes back to this movie that impacted me a lot, and I can't just forget it. And it's crazy of the project I've been doing and still doing. Hopefully I can finish this and Just keep it as a extremely good, precise and detailed memory, not just for me, but for everybody else that didn't think that you could actually go so deep into just an advertisement. That's what it basically is, just an advertisement, right? But yeah, it's one of these things that we crazy mad scientist people do in the retro world. But what if in the future, instead of these emulated version, they also talk about making a full-size Amiga. But when I was doing my Amiga CD32 movie, that was launched early this January, so now it's 24th of January 2025. And when I did research into the Amiga CD32, that movie I made, 4 hours, The Hunt for my Amiga CD32, I came across a project which was mind-blowing. Somebody have started a project, I can't remember the name, maybe Amiga CD32 or something, like reborn or something, relived. And that person was very precise that he wanted to replicate the electronics, like the PCB, the chips, everything. Just recreate the entire motherboard. Because these things are just FPGA, you know, it's just on the chip. Everything hardware is software emulated. And of course they do that thing, and they are cool machines, easy to set up, easy to use. But when you're old school like me, I would prefer to use the real old things and just sit and wait for a tape to load just for the fun of it. Because that's the only way you can really truly get back. Of course these retro boxes will help you getting some of that feeling. But what if now with all the AI, what if there will be AI factories like robots, AI robots? You can just you know, put them on the floor. All they need is power. And what if in the future there will be a much cheaper way that you can replicate electronics from the past? Because you have to imagine if you're gonna, I don't know, replicate Amiga floppy drive from 1989 or something, you'd only sell about a couple of thousand, but the production and the manufacturing and everything will be like 10 times more, so it's not something that will be done. But what if they started reproducing the Commodore 64, the Amiga 500, like truly one-to-one copy, all the chips, everything? Because now we can just push a button and then the robots can you know, reproduce the silicon chips. I mean, all the components in that type of hardware of Amiga, they're just plastic and metal and copper and, you know, just ordinary things anyway. And the schematics is already there. But if you can put AI and AI robots to it, practically it doesn't cost much, and then you can actually reproduce these things, like really reproduce. I know this is completely science fiction, but you know, these things are getting rare, and things will get lost and all of that. And well, my part of this is just to document whatever impact these things, and especially this movie impacted me. And everything else regarding Commodore, of course, impacted me in many ways. But yeah, I think that was the end of the story. I have probably other deep down videos I will do on my website. I have lots of stuff. You can check out my website here on the QR code on the front page, and then you will spend a couple of hours just getting an overview. And if you're going to dig deep into everything, it's going to take you weeks, because I have a lot of stuff documented. And now I'm just trying to document it in person, but also show some you know, physical objects and part of my collection, and talk about everything around it. So hope you had a nice, I don't know, 40 minutes, 1 hour. I have no idea how long this movie is going to be, because I recorded this before I started editing the movie in virtual reality. So I guess that's just what I wanted to say for now. So bye.